All right, so the last video I did, I think I left you hanging a little bit with how do you deal with things after you have an argument with someone or you need to fix things. And yeah, you need to start by apologizing, but maybe even before you get to the point of apologizing, you got to figure out a way to address your feelings and to get rid of the negativity that you're feeling, because you don't want to go up to someone and try to apologize and then just spill your guts and end up making it worse than it was to begin with. So first off, you got to deal with the negativity inside you and not ignore it, like pretending it doesn't exist or keeping your mouth shut and all that doesn't make it go away. So you do have to address it, but there's a right and a wrong way to address it. So in the last video, I shared the wrong ways to address it. So now I want to talk about the right ways. If it's just a little thing, something that's irritating you that you need to get off your chest, then I personally love going for a walk or a run or just going and punching. I have a great workout that just punches in the air, some taekwondo or something that just kickboxing, whatever, gets you moving. You can also get a punching bag. I had one, I actually broke it a couple of times, so maybe that wasn't super effective, or I just needed a better punching bag. But anyway, I think that's a very great way to just get that negativity out of you and release a lot of emotions. Singing actually is really great. Sometimes sing yelling, whatever you need to do to get it out. Again, not directed at the person. Do this on your own. One of my favorite ways, well, it's kind of a love-hate relationship. This works really well. I don't always like to take the time to do it because sometimes it digs up deeper emotions, but writing pages. Just sit down and write. You can either write a letter to the person. This is not to send, but just to get all your feelings out. Like, this is what I want to say to you. This is how I'm feeling. This is how, whatever comes to your mind. This is how you hurt me, or I'm embarrassed, or whatever it is. Get all those feelings out on paper. And then when you're done with it, destroy the paper. Get rid of it, burn it, shred it, get rid of it. And that will honestly release so much of that negativity, because there is energy in our emotions, whether it's bottled up inside us or whether we write it down on paper. That energy goes where you direct it. So writing it down actually pulls it out of you and is a great way to get that out of you. And then you can think clearly and actually go to the person if you still need to, and be able to think clearly and talk like a real adult and not a childish kid throwing a tantrum. So that's one of my favorite things to do is to write pages or write a letter and then just shred it, destroy it. You can do that on the computer or you can write it out on paper, it doesn't matter. Another thing I really love, and I've been doing this lately with things that have come up in the past, like just the other day I came across something that triggered a memory that had happened like 22 years ago, and I instantly was angry, and I just thought, oh my goodness, I'm still holding on to this, and if I ever met this person, I would not be in a good spot. So I came home. There's a term, it's actually a whole, I think it's actually a whole healing thing. Anyway, the Hawaiians do, that's called Ho'oponopono, and it literally means connection. And this is about repairing damage between a relationship. It's about making a positive connection with people. So the story goes that, and I hope I tell this right, there was a hospital, and there was a ward in the hospital that was for the basically criminally ill patients. Like, there was so many problems and lots of horrible things that these people had done that were staying in this ward, and they also were ill. And this nurse went in, and I believe he was the head nurse, and he would shut himself in the office and study the files of each of the patients in this hospital wing. And the interesting thing is this wing in the hospital was so dark, and there was just this yucky feeling there. Nobody liked to go there. It was high security because there was always fighting and lots of terrible things being said and being done to each of the patients there. No flowers grew around that wing of the hospital. It was just a yucky environment. And so anyway, this nurse would lock himself in the office and study the portfolios of all the crimes these patients had committed, the things they had suffered in their lives. And then he would go through a process of things that he would say in his mind. He would visualize the person, the patient, and he would go through a 5-step thing. First he said, "I'm sorry." And he was specific. "I'm sorry that you went through these terrible things in your life. I'm sorry that you struggled with this, da, 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 da." And he said, "I forgive you." And he would list all the things. "I forgive you for this, for this, for this, for this." And then he said, "Please forgive me for judging you or for thinking negatively," whatever it was that he felt he'd done. Then he said, "Thank you, and I love you." And he just would go through each of these steps with every person in this wing of the hospital. And he did this every day. And this is clinically documented that within less than 3 months, several things started changing. The people in that wing stopped fighting. They actually got along with each other. Flowers started growing around the building. The energy completely changed. And actually, eventually, all the patients were either released to a separate wing or cured of whatever they were dealing with and were sent home. And then the wing was shut down in that hospital. I think it's so powerful. I've done that with family members that I've had arguments with. I've just gone through that process of thinking and just seeing their face in my mind and thinking, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, I forgive you, thank you, I love you." That whole process, it's very powerful, and it can change your whole attitude and the whole way you feel inside. So it's another way to just release, especially long, deep-seated emotions that need to be taken care of and let go of. So those are probably the best ones. Those are the easiest ones. Sometimes if something really bad has happened to you, if there's some really deep, hurtful things, like abuse of any kind, or just really pain, and perspective is huge. Like, some people may have something done that you think that's not a big deal, but it really tore them up and really destroyed them inside emotionally. And so that takes a little more process. It takes a lot of writing and a lot of praying and a lot of asking for help, but going through these different processes is very, very effective. It just sometimes takes time to heal and to move on, but you absolutely can. I know you can. I've done it over and over and over again, and I just, it's so powerful to be able to forgive. It lightens you, because ultimately forgiveness is for ourselves. It's not for the person that wronged us. It's so that we can be at peace. We can think about a situation, and forgiveness doesn't mean that what the person did is okay. Not at all. It also doesn't mean that you have to trust them or even love them. But what it means is that you can think about the situation, you can think about the person without it destroying you, without it eating you up inside and ruining your life. And that's the power in forgiveness. So hopefully you learned something and can use some of these things. They truly just make life so much better. Don't hang on to garbage that you don't need. Life's too short.